Hey, Wages World, what's happening? Kool-aid Krew. Good to see everybody. Somebody give me a 5 for 5, and we'll go right on through all of what we got going on. Guys, you can't make this stuff up, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, we just had another X flare right there. This is kind of in the danger zone, what they call the danger zone. I'll go into that, what that means here in a minute. Basically, it means we're at risk for a solar radiation storm, but we'll dive a little deeper in that. Um, Here is the X flare, and it's interesting the placement of this because right about boom, right there it is. There's your X flare. What do we got hanging out in the Gulf right now? Guys, this happened a couple years back, and we'll go over that a little bit too. And no sooner than uh, the flares hit these hurricanes, guess what? They intensified almost immediately. And I'm sorry to say this, but this is I thought it was almost a Cat 5 when I started setting this up, and Surgery 68 told me it's a Cat 5 now. It could be. I don't know. I haven't even looked. But my thing is, it probably will intensify. This is probably going to intensify it a little bit. It did every time I've seen this happen. It intensifies the hurricane just a little bit. I'm not saying it's going to be some big massive intensification because it can't be all that massive when you're already a massive hurricane. This thing's already breaking records. So this is not a good situation. I will say that. Also, guys, guess what? G-3 solar storm. Anybody that caught my show last night? Yeah. There you have it. By, by golly. Yeah. I told you guys, didn't I? Now, I'm not exactly sure what's happened here. We'll get into that here in a minute, but you can see how we have, a G2, G2. This is a G3. Now, we didn't stay there very long. We've been kind of going in and out of it for a while. But yeah. So, also, I'm waiting on this to update, and what I'm saying this is this coronagraph. Okay? It does show the flare, and I'll stop it and show it to you right about. Okay, you can't really see it there, but check out this previous image. Okay, when you see that happen, sometimes it's because of a massive solar flare or a solar flare that's just bright. Okay, this is an occulter disk. It's a physical disk on the satellite, on the imager that's on the satellite. So any kind of light blast that it gets right behind it, it's going to kind of look like this. And the timing's matching up. So, yes, this is that solar flare. So we'll just, we'll kind of go with that. Now, I don't know. You know what? Before I stick my foot in my mouth here, yeah, that ain't it. Okay? That ain't it. I wanted to double check that and I forgot. When I seen it said 1400, I thought it said 1900 earlier and it didn't. It said 1400 when I went over there. So that is not that solar flare. Let me just correct myself there. Okay? But regardless, it doesn't really matter. We still had the solar flare. But we sometimes do see when we get a flare back here. What I will say, though, we did get a large M-class flare right before this X-class. So that's probably this. But as you can see, the flaring here is just continuing, and it is in that danger zone. So, Planet Hermit with the 20 gifted memberships. Loving it, guys. Guys, we had a lot of fun over there last night. I'm not sure whoever was able to make it. Thank you guys for everybody that did. I had a really good time. I'm pretty sure you guys did too. But thank you, Planet Hermit, once more for the 20 gifted memberships. I mean, that's just wow. Wow. Guys, we're pushing 500 members now. You believe that? That's crazy. I gave away 10 myself yesterday. So, here we go. It's awesome. You guys are just awesome. So, yeah, thank you, Planet Hermit, for real. And we'll stop again here in just a few minutes. And I know a lot of people appreciated it, too, because they typically wouldn't have been there. But it's giving them a chance to see what we do over there. So that's why that really is cool to me. Over on the members only. We had a really good time watching some of those court proceedings. It was fun. But anyway, so guys, yeah, this is a long duration solar flare. It's still flaring as I'm talking to you. This happened a few weeks back too over here, if you remember right. So this is definitely something that we're going to have to deal with here for a minute. As you can tell on the deabsorption here, the D region, this is kind of what we look at. This is going to show you the flare. It looks like a bullseye. And we will also see if we get a radiation storm here on this particular model. The pole areas on this model will light up in red if we get a radiation storm. Okay? And it's possible, because this just happened, and if it crosses our line that we're connected to the sun with, the protons will grab that line and filter back this way. It'll actually move backwards if it needs to. So, if that's the connection line, that's just what I'll say. But yeah. So, again, let me just kind of push forward here. Something else has kind of gotten lost this week, and I want to point this out again. I haven't talked about it but one time, and I think people are kind of forgetting it. Sunspot number. Okay? Remember, we were way above in August. Now, you see what happened here in September? I mean, it dropped almost in half. Well, I wouldn't say in half, but it dropped very, very significantly. What did that say? 141 and 215. So, yeah, so you're looking at 75 sunspot difference. That's significant. But I went over that a little bit when I did talk about it. And if you were to go back and look at these other sun cycles, we see this, right? You see the big massive drop here? We get two spikes typically in a sun cycle. We'll get basically two climaxes there. So this is probably our first climax, okay? But, you know, the sun can do what it wants, when it wants, and how it wants to do it. So it not necessarily could be. You know, I don't know yet. We just got to wait and see. Okay, also Aurora is beaming right now. Okay, so, and obviously we're over here. If you're living in the States, there you go. There you have it. Hey, Ron, with the 5 gifted memberships. You guys are awesome. I mean, you guys are, I mean, even if you didn't gift any of those memberships at all, I'd still love y'all. You know that, right? So please don't feel like you have to. Hey, Ripper, good to see you, bud. Okay, so, and I do think that this is going to intensify this hurricane. I truly do believe that. And we will be able to see it pretty significantly on like a satellite imagery or even a radar, okay? And we will take a look at that, because there's a site that anybody that's tracking hurricanes at all needs to go to. It has everything there, and I'll show it to you here in just a minute. But as you can see, the aurora is lighting up over here. Now, if it drops out of geomagnetic storm levels before tonight, and it most likely will, it'll probably jump back and forth for a while here. It could hamper, or damper, I should say, what kind of aurora we see over here in the States. Now, I did see a message from Gary. He said he sent me some aurora photography over in my email. I haven't went over and got it yet. This just happened. I wasn't planning on doing a live stream right now, so just know that I'm just kind of here. Now, guys, check this out. I've not seen a flare do this in quite some time, especially to this magnitude. So let me show you what I'm talking about. You guys see how this went up there to that's an M-class flare. Flares are measured by X-ray, for those that don't know, okay? And then they assign it a letter, A, B, C, M, and X. Now, once you get to X, there's nothing above an X, but an X10 is the top of this particular chart. We have flares way bigger than X10, okay? So they stopped the letter part of naming these flares at X, but they will just keep adding the number will just keep rising, like X45, X80. You know, those are when we're talking about the Halloween event from 2003, the Canadian blackout in '89. Obviously, the Carrington event was huge. So yeah, the X class just keeps moving up with number at that point. You're not going to go from an X to a double A or something like that. That's not how they do it. But anyway, if you look at this, guys, check this signature out. Look what's happening here. We go to an M flare, right? And then it flares again, and it gets up here in this X class range. And usually you'll see like something like this. See how it kind of tapers down? You know, it was just, that right there is, I wouldn't call it long duration, but it's not like a straight up and down, right? Like impulsive. When I first looked at this looked like that's what this was going to do. It looked like it was going to go bam and straight back down, because this is a straight line, right? But it started to come down at a slant a little bit, and then it stopped. Check that out. So we're consistently in an R2 radio blackout condition currently. And it's been that way for, that right there is probably about 45 minutes. Okay? It doesn't usually do that. I've not seen a signature like this in a long time. So it's going to do that. And if you look here on the end, it even went up a little bit again. So I'm wondering if we might be having another flare also. So if that is the case, we're going to have to really pay attention, because you start getting multiple flares popping up over top of hurricanes, it ain't going to do anything to help you. I'll tell you that. Okay? You know, and I know some people will argue that, hey, you know, flares don't always intensify hurricanes. And they are absolutely right. Okay? They are. But bigger flares like this over top of hurricanes typically will add extra stuff. And there you go. It's going to get at least a little bit more intense. Now, is it going to mean a whole big bunch of intense? Again, I don't think so. But, you know, you just never know. We had 2 hurricanes a few years ago that did it a week apart. And both of those hurricanes got flares right over top of them. And both of them intensified like a whole category in less than a half hour of the flare hitting. That's not a coincidence, guys, in my opinion. Now, however we document that, I don't know. I don't know if they even collect that kind of data. I'm sure if somebody could go back and do a paper on it and all that, and there probably are papers on that. But one thing I'm for certain, if it does do that, this hurricane is already a monster. Okay, and this right here is why I tell you guys, hey, people come to me all the time and say space weather, you know, we don't, you know, get the effects of this. Nothing ever happens. Da 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 da. People keep saying that. Okay, if that's what you want to think. But when you say that to me, and I know that I've actually looked at the data myself, historically took the time to go back and look, and I can see in the data exact time matches up with certain events, or you can go back and just look at a geomagnetic storm, and you can look at the overall global reporting, like house fires go up, seismic activity it does. Every time we have a coronal hole, seismic activity increases. That is not a question. So don't come to me and tell me that space weather doesn't affect us. Now they're doing a bunch of studies, and they have been for years now, and it's just been simply proven that it affects our bodies. Okay? So there you go. And I don't argue with people about it, because they're never going to change their mind. It's just not going to happen. So I'm not going to try to change their mind. I'm just going to show everybody what I think is going on. And if they want to grab a hold of that, maybe they'll grab a piece of what I'm saying. And, and it's okay to have the opposite opinion of me. It really is. Okay? I mean, they could come to me and say, I don't think it affects anything. If you do that respectfully, I'll respectfully say, okay, cool. You know, I just disagree. And hey, let's go watch some Zoom court. You know what I mean? That's just how I am. I don't find that anything gets solved by sitting here and screaming at each other. And it just doesn't happen. And that's why you've never seen me make video for video in a fight with somebody. That's never going to happen. That's also why I don't allow any bad talk of any other channel in my chat. 100%. I don't care if you think I hate them or not. You put that in my chat, it's out of here. That's a warning. You do it again, you're out of here. That's the only way I have to be like that. Because if we're not, things just, bam, they explode on you. So, I've seen it happen on too many channels, and I ain't going to have it here. But anyway. So, I'm waiting for this to update. Okay, this is a coronagraph, and I'm curious to see if this X-Flare has produced a CME. Right? So, this is SOHO, like I said. This satellite is 1,000,000 miles closer to the sun than what we are. And it's always looking at the sun. Right? So, as of right now, I'm not seeing any kind of CME. But, again, we haven't hit the time of this flare yet. So, if we come back here, and if I hit play, this is the 131 angstrom. This is SDO. This is extreme ultraviolet. And it's looking at a specific gas. And you can see it right there. Okay? Most definitely a hit. Bam. Right? And you can see why that signature is happening over here. Right? You can see why. You can see what's causing it. It's continually putting out massive amounts of X-ray right there. Okay, so we're looking at a time frame of, from start right there at 15, if you look at the timestamp, 1915 right there. Okay, which is what would that be? Let's go with, that 7:15 UTC time? Yeah. So, and then we go forward here, and that's the last image we have right now. So it stayed like that for at least a half hour. Okay, and it's going to be longer because we just don't have the other images yet. Hasn't updated. So let me take this back and we'll look at a different angstrom real quick, okay? So let's look at the 304, which is ionized helium. And we're able to see, you know, massive plasma eruptions. But, you know, we got this X-flare happening over here. Look at this filament right here. With this popping right there, it could destabilize this filament. If this filament rips off, that is a dense filament. You can just see it. Okay? So let me go right here. Now you can actually see something popped off the bottom here too. You'll see it right there. Look at that. Okay? That was plasma leaving the sun. That's a CME on the south pole of the sun. That's not going to affect us, but that's what happened right there. Now you can also see here too, let me pause it. Okay, watch this X-flare, and I know it ain't as impressive looking on this imaging, the flare part of it. So that does that, but watch these other areas light up at the same time. Okay, like right here and over here, I think it did it at the same time. Yeah, right there, right there. So things were just like, you know, the X-flare happened, so it destabilized this area of the sun enough that it caused those other areas to start to act up too. Now that could get more intense over here. I don't know. We just got to wait and see. The sun's going to decide when it stops, not us. Okay? So anyway, as we get moving here again, let me let this thing load up. This is the 211. Look at this coronal hole up here, guys. This is a very significant coronal hole. Okay, what that is the atmosphere of the sun is peeled back and it's exposed the surface. The surface is black in color on this imaging because it's colder than the atmosphere. That's not a hole in the sun. It's a hole in the sun's atmosphere. But something else that I just kind of pointed out on the 304, the 211 here is actually looking like we had another CME not where that X flare was at. Let me show you. Watch right here. See that? Watch where my cursor is. Okay? So that could be another CME in process. But if we run this back, yeah, this thing most definitely produced a CME. Okay, so watch what's happening down there. Oops. You see how this starts to spread open like a clamshell? See that? That's the beginning of a CME. So, yeah, that's going to produce a CME. Now, is that CME going to hit us? I don't know. That in this position where it's at, it's got a chance of missing and it's got a chance of hitting. Okay? So I can't just say, hey, one way or the other. Also, all of the CMEs that they said was going to hit us did. Okay? Now, what I'll say is this, because you can see it in the data, and I showed it to you guys yesterday in the data. The hits did not put us into storm level right away because of the BZ and other factors. Okay? And I went over that extensively yesterday with the discovered data. Okay? I'm not going to do it again today and waste your guys' time. Go back and watch the previous video there if you guys want to see, get the information on that. I went over it pretty extensively and showed you guys exactly when things started and, you know, pointed out why we didn't go into geomagnetic storming. And I explain that almost every time we have these events because there's always a chance that the magnetic fields are not going to be the ones that couple to us, okay, in our magnetic field, okay? If they don't couple, they don't come in as easy. So it takes a lot stronger of a hit for them to break through all that and to really give us a good geomagnetic hit. I showed you guys the increase in speed, density, the BZ, all of that stuff moved at the exact same time. So I just want to make sure you guys are understanding that, okay? We got hit with every one of these. This was very, very, you know, close to being like impressively correct, I have to say. There was so much going on. I thought for sure they're going to miss some of these, and it doesn't look like they did. So if you come to today, right? So we're right here, and we're going to get hit with this one here, and that's probably the one that we're getting hit with right now. Okay, that last one right there. That would be exactly what I would call that a hit on the forecast, a correct forecast, because they give themselves plus or minus 8 hours. Right? So you got like a 16-hour window there for it to hit in. Now, and then they'll call that a correct forecast. And they should. Sun's 93 million miles away from us, guys. There's a lot of things that can happen between here and there. So, you know, if the speed is off just a little bit than what they thought it was, it's going to affect when it gets here. So that's just what I'll say. Also, the direction. It's hard to tell the direction, too. So, yeah. But, anyway, I think Noah did a really good job here. I really do. As far as forecasting when these things were going to hit. Okay. Now, you can see where... Let's go over here. I think I got the Discover data pulled up somewhere here. Yeah, right here. Guys, you can see where our BZ went back positive again here. But what I'm seeing is it's starting to dive south again. For those that don't know, we need to look for -6 on the BZ. That's this red line. I'm not going to explain why today. But we get to that -6, we couple to those magnetic fields easier. All right? And it draws all the space weather in. And when that happens, our geomagnetic storming gets more intense. Okay? So this is density down here, and you can still see that it's not really all that high. It was high back here. But like I showed you guys yesterday, when we got hit, look, when this BZ goes positive, that's when, if we were to look at the HP here and time this out, that's when everything would start to drop off. because now we're deflecting things. Okay? So, yeah. Hey, Stephanie, thank you for becoming another member there. Heck yeah, renewing that membership. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Thank you. Let me highlight that for you. Right there. Have I ever seen this much activity before? Cul-de-sac? I've seen quite a bit of activity before, yeah. I don't want anybody to think that this isn't what should be going on, because it should. Guys, we have to remember we're in solar maximum. Things are going to be very busy when things are busy, okay? And you know, yeah, we're going to see things that we probably haven't seen before. A lot of times that's the case, but sometimes it's just not. So we just have to accept whatever the fact is to be the fact, no matter where it comes from, okay? If it comes from mainstream, so be it. If it comes from alternative, so be it. Oh, how to get in the mods groups, please? You guys need to email me, okay? I've got an email set up for a Telegram room set up for a handful of people that I've given an extra responsibility to, but I've also got I'm setting up I got a Telegram room set up for every moderator, but I can't get you guys over there unless you email me. I'm not putting that here in the chat, okay? So you guys got to email me if you guys want to get into that. I would really appreciate it if you guys would too, because you guys could talk while I'm live in that room. So if you're having issues in the chat with somebody or just have a question, you can ask in there, okay? We do that over on Marfugal, and it works really well. So I want to try to mirror that here. Okay, so now this, okay? If you guys don't know what Track the Tropics is, you guys need to. I'm serious. If you're looking at hurricane stuff, this is where you need to be. This has got every hub that is, I think, possible. You know? So, let's paste that real quick. There it is. There is the link to that. What you got there, Stephanie? Add me to Telegram? Okay. I will, for sure. Thank you. Yeah, and any mod that hears me say this, you just email me. I promise I'll put you in there. And you guys can talk behind the scenes. And that it does help. I promise. So if you're unsure on what to get out of the chat, or if you should delete a comment, there's going to be somebody in there that's going to give you some advice and probably help you out. All right? Yes, that's something else too, Jammer. Such a great point, man. We found out it gets the group so much closer. And for, I forgot what the rest of your, yeah. and for new mods, we basically, yeah, it kind of helps train people to do what we're doing. Okay, it's not something, guys. If you're ever a mod on somebody's channel, you find out real quick, it is not the easiest thing to do in the world. It's just really not. It takes a lot of attention, like when somebody's live, especially like if there's only like one or two of you in there, it becomes really busy. But that's okay too. I mean, just saying. But anyway, this coronal hole up here, guys, when we connect to that, we probably already are. You got what's called the Earth Strike Zone. It's kind of like a rectangle right here, okay? And this rectangle, when anytime anything passes through that area, it will typically hit Earth. Whatever's going on, whether it's a coronal hole, CMEs, flares, all that stuff, right? Filament releases. If it happens right here in the front, Earth's got a good shot that it's going to hit us. Now, and I think what one of the things that I've been able to show you guys, getting hit by the sun is not the end of the world. Matter of fact, we need a lot of what the sun gives us in that line of thinking, okay? We really do. We need geomagnetic activity to fend off cosmic rays and other things. It helps keep our magnetic field strong. At the same time, if we get too much of it, yes, it can give us some issues, right? I mean, obviously everybody goes straight to grid down. I actually try to talk against that. I try to let people understand that that's only going to happen one time in your life. Because if it's a global grid down event, everything's going to change. Everything in your life is going to change. So that's why I tell you guys, if that's actually what's getting ready to happen, and I really think that that's happening, most likely I won't even be able to get out here and tell you. Okay? It's just going to be that way. If I can, it'll be the last time you guys ever hear my voice. That's just me being true with you guys. So just so you know, that's why I don't throw those words around. I don't. So if you ever hear me say that, you just know that I'm as serious as I've ever been. I'm not ever going to say that unless I really truly think that that's going to happen. And it's going to take a lot for me to say it. Okay? Way more than I've ever shown you before. Okay? We're talking, you're going to have to show me an X-Class flare that's X50 or something like that. And a CME and everything. I mean, it's going to have to be a lot. Okay? So, anyway. So you seen this event here. We went, G2, back into G1, G2, back into G1, G3 for about a half hour here. And we're still real close to G1 right now. Right now, officially, at NOAA, we're at a G2 still. Okay? This is what's interesting me. It's hanging out at an R2, guys. This thing is hanging out at an R2. This is, well, let me refresh it just to double check. Yeah. I mean, wow. That's all I can say. That's something I've not seen very often. And if I'm being honest with you, I've not seen it last that long when it does that. Okay? I've just never seen it go up to X flare, come back down to an M flare range, and then just kind of plateau there for an hour. I've never seen that myself. Now, I'm not saying it's never happened. I'm just saying I've never seen it do that. What that means is the sun's continually producing X-ray right now. Whether it's from one particular spot or not. It could be from all the collective spots on the sun. So, yeah. Okay. All right. So, let's go over here to track the tropics. Okay? If you guys come over here and you check this out, every hub is here. Look at this. I show you guys this all the time. Now, if you don't want to have to filter through the hubs, go over to Ryan Hall or Max Velocity. Those are the two best weather channels in my opinion. Okay? If you don't know who they are, you guys need to get over and check them both out. Max is growing really big right now. Yeah, I've been with Max since he had like 15,000 subscribers, if that. And now he's up over, I think, 200,000. Something like that. His channel's just like completely blew up, man. And I'm proud of the kid. He's a younger kid. Still doing college and stuff. But anyway, here is a satellite image of this hurricane. All right. What the heck was that? You see that, guys? This is GOES satellite. Okay. You don't have to come over here to track the tropics to get this satellite imaging. You can go straight over to GOES and get it. Okay. But it's already here. So why not use it, right? If you look at the timestamps here, I'm just looking to see if we see any intensification as far as the cloud base here. Let's see what this does right here. Yeah, I mean, we just don't have enough there to really say anything yet. There's not enough time there. So, yeah. So I'm not going to sit here and say it is or isn't going to intensify like right now. Now, this is a radar image. Okay. I want to show you something. Okay? So, don't think I'm saying anything crazy here. If you look at the timestamp, We're looking for that 1900 hour, right? When that X-flare happened. Watch what happens on this radar image when 1900 hits. You're going to see the gray areas right around the eye just boom and push all the way out. Watch. Boom. That was quick. Okay? It's not like it just was moving real slow there. So, you know, that could have been, that definitely could have been some sort of recycle inside the hurricane also. But with it lining up when that flare hit, it's hard to say that that's just a coincidence. Right? And I'm not saying it intensified real big here, because it didn't. It didn't look like it, you know, at least you can't see it here anyway. But you can definitely see that for, what, 2 hours, the hurricane itself was consistently the same color. And then right when that flare hit, you see that little gray kind of push out from the center. See that? Watch. Right there. Wish I could slow this down, but I can't. So yeah, I mean, again, is it going to intensify it enough to where it stays at that intensity? Probably not. The two hurricanes that it did it to that one year, I think one of them was, I think one of them's name was Isaac and something else, but I'm not going to sit here and try to say that because I'll probably get it wrong. But yeah. It's got a lot of time before it hits up here in Florida. And guys, this thing is moving into some very highly populated areas. They're forecasting it now to go right into Tampa. That's bad. Okay? It really is. And I know that people down there are prepared for these kinds of things, right? And that's the only thing that kind of gives me peace about these guys. They know what to do, right? So, you know, they just got to do it. And unfortunately, you're always going to have somebody that says, nope, I'm staying right here in my shed or in my mobile home, right on the beach. I mean, you always get those people that do that kind of stuff. And it's like, what are you doing? I mean, and they're actually talking about a very, very significant storm surge with this thing. And you know, and here's the thing. It's taking this path right here, and let me back that off. Let's go look at the track itself. Let's go down. Well, that's too much there. Okay. So you see the spaghetti string models, right? They're all pretty much real close to one another, guys. And like I've talked to you guys before, like when I'm showing you guys like a CME, right? And I show you NOAA's version of a CME model, CME tracker, and I compare it to the NASA version, and I always say, hey, if they both match up and they say we're going to get hit at the same time, then you can pretty much bet that that's going to happen. Well, the same thing is true with these hurricane spaghetti string models. There's a bunch of different agency models, and when they all start matching up like that, there's not a whole lot of room here for error, is what I'm saying. They're all saying that this thing is going to do virtually the same thing as far as the track that it's taking. So, and remember, we're looking at kind of like a cone here too. So, if you draw a line in the middle like they do here, it can hit outside of this and still be considered the correct forecast. That's why they put that cone there. It's just like the plus or minus 8 hour thing I was talking about earlier. But these spaghetti string models, I've seen them. Man, I seen one once, if I remember correctly. It was over here in the Gulf next to Texas. And they were showing it coming in here. Like 10 of the spaghetti string models are showing it coming in here. And there were like 3 of them that had it doing like a 180 and going this way. So, I mean, it's like, what do you listen to there? You know? Then you go with then what you do at that point is you go with your official forecast, right? And if there's ever a need for leaning on the side of caution, this is one of those situations, okay? So I can't stress this enough. If they're telling you to evacuate and you're listening to my voice right now, please evacuate. don't chance it. It's just not worth it. And also, you know, Max made a good point earlier today. Max Velocity. I was watching his channel about this hurricane, and he said, you know, there's a misconception of people that when we say, hey, you need to evacuate, people think that you got to go to the next state up and over here and over there. You don't have to do that. Like if you're down here in Tampa, you can just evacuate further inland. Because what you're trying to do is get away from that storm surge. Right? So if you go to a hotel or something back here, most likely you're going to be fine. That's really what they're trying to do. If they thought that there was still danger, like right here all the way through, they would be making mandatory evacuations for the whole state. So kind of keep that in mind too. You don't have to evacuate 3 states up. I mean, if you got relatives and stuff, got a place to go, why not? But what I'm saying is it's not a necessity. They're trying to get away from the coast most of the time. Because that's usually why people evacuate, is because that storm surge comes in. And if it's high enough, obviously, guess what? You become a permanent part of the ocean and then end up being fish food. So, just saying. Alright. So, just be smart, guys. That's all I'm saying. Okay? And I know you guys are. And anybody that lives down there, they don't need to hear me say that, probably. But, you know, on the off chance that somebody don't quite understand and they're listening to me and they live down there, please, just please, get yourself to safety. Don't waste time. You got time now to get away from it. Go do it. So, yeah, you know. But this is the geoelectric field model, guys. This is the electric field at the surface, geoelectric field. And it's trying to bridge a gap between seismic activity and space weather. So Canada's involved in this one now. It's us, it's Canada and the lower 48. The rest of the world doesn't have this model. I've been showing you guys this model now for close to 3 years. I think I was like one of the first ones that started showing it to you guys. Because when I first started showing it to you, it was still in beta, and it only had like this part of the lower 48 was even working. But now they've got this thing working pretty good, and it's continually collecting data, and it's going to help them forecast earthquakes in the future. That's why they're doing this. We know that space weather affects earthquakes. We just don't know exactly how yet. At least enough to use it to forecast in any kind of like mass way, I should say. Okay. But yeah, go check this out, guys, please. And they're not talking about this thing hitting until Wednesday. So, and they are saying that it should, it won't be as powerful when it gets up here when it comes inland. I think they're saying it's supposed to come in at a Cat 3 at this point. But if this thing is going to intensify to Cat 5 already, and I don't know that it has. Let's, where's the latest update? Let's see here. Yeah, it's not the latest update there. Let's see if I can find the latest update. Well, I guess what I could do is do this. I would think if I X'd out of all this and went back into it, it probably will give me the latest images that they have here. Okay, so trying to look here. Alright, let's see. Yeah, I don't know if anybody knows, put it in the chat. Okay, so sorry about that dead air. I had to concentrate there for a second. My brain don't work like it did when I was younger. Anyway, yeah. But you guys can figure that out. It's not hard, okay? It's just not. Let's see if this one gives us anything. Satellite image from 4:30 p.m. Okay, this is like pretty up to date here then. Let's see. So I got, this is NOAA. This will be the official forecast here. Let's see. What are they saying it is right now? 180 miles per hour. Wow. I think that is still a Cat 4. It might be the beginning of a Cat 5. I can't remember, guys. I'm sorry. Usually these things will put it right there on it, but I don't know why it's not. Let's do this. Yeah. Anyway, you guys get what I'm saying. So, but anyway, guys, that's all I got for you right now. I may come back later on tonight with another update on the geomagnetic storm and all that. And we're going to take a look right now, so don't leave yet. And by the way, give me a roll call in there anyway. I like to know where you guys are from. I really do. It's interesting to see what kind of regions you guys are at. Well, I'll load this up here, and we'll see what we got as far as the most up-to-date imaging on the satellite here for this X-flare. Let's see what we got. This is a 94 angstrom. This one shows flaring really well. Oh, wow. Look at that. Man. Guys, that's a lot. It's not calming down right there either. That's a lot of X-rays. I'll be really surprised. Yeah. X-ray is not radiation storm, okay? Protons, highly charged protons that cross our magnetic line is what gives us radiation storms. And we connect to the sun over here on the right, and it moves around, guys, just so you know. But yeah. Hey, Dennis, good to see you. Yeah, I seen you said that earlier, surgery. I was just trying to look and see if it may even be stronger. But it has increased from the last time I looked at it. It was like 175 was the wind, and now it's up to 180. So, yeah. The strongest hurricane on record was actually in the Pacific, and I think it was like 210 miles an hour. This one right here, I think, is on, if it ain't already, it's on pace for the most powerful one in the Atlantic. It's right up there. The millibars is actually, the power is, they relate that straight to the power of the hurricane, how intense it is. The millibar pressure. So when that's dropping, it's intensifying. It's making, in other words, the engine there that's producing that hurricane is very, very healthy. Okay, so if it's continually dropping, now if you see the pressure come up, that's the sign that it's either recycling the eye wall or it is becoming just simply weaker. So yeah, is it back up again, Amber? Is it really? It sure is, guys. Look at that. That is so interesting. I have never seen that one. I've never seen it do that before, guys. I really haven't. I've seen it do this kind of a signature down here, right? But never at X-class range like that. Thank you for putting that in there, though. She said, hey, go look. It's almost at X-class again. It is at X-class again. Look. R3. Wow. So they'll probably consider that two separate flares. Okay, just so you know. Because it did calm down, and it's coming from the same area of the sun, but not the exact spot, I don't think. It's hard to tell here on these imaging. Okay, hold on a minute. Let me I'm gonna go over here to 131. It'll kind of like single it out a little bit for me if I go here. Let's let that load real quick and see what we got. But yeah, thank you for pointing that out, Amber. That was a good catch. Good catch. Let's oh wow. Man, sorry I got quiet there. I'm just trying to pay attention here to see if I can see anything. So there's your X flare, the initial. Now watch it surge, and it's kind of over here. Right there. See that? So it could be surging from two different spots right there. Okay? Or at least two different areas. Could be the same sunspot, but just two different areas of that sunspot. Wow. Okay. Well, we're going to have to keep an eye on that, guys. I probably will come back on later on just because of that. Okay? So I will be back on probably around 9 or 10 tonight. Right before Marfugo goes live. It's typically what I do. Guys, if you're in Florida, prayers for you. But be smart, please. Alright? So, with that being said, guys, and if you're a member of the channel, if you want to be, please join up. Thanks to everybody that did become members today. And the past week or so, we're almost up over 500, guys. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. We had a good time last night. Watching some funny court stuff. And I plan on continuing doing that to give us a laugh and get away from all this serious stuff. You know what I mean? I gave a little space weather update over there too. So, I mean, it's not like I don't talk about space weather. It's just we try to have fun over there. It's a laid back thing. So, all right, guys. God bless. Yahusha saves, and as always, let's pour some Kool-Aid on these X flares and get them to calm down a little bit. How about that? All right, guys. God bless. Yahusha saves, and